What's going on, Knicks fans? We have a Donovan Mitchell trade update from Charania of The Athletic. We're going to break all that down in today's show. And I was talking with my producer, Jeremy Chugg. Shout out to him. He said we should go live on the channel tonight to talk about the rumor. If you want that to happen, if you want us to go live, type real one in the comments section so I can know who's going to tune in. But if you want to see us live, type real one. Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and the Donovan Mitchell trade rumors are back. Sort of. We'll break down what Charania said in the article, but the headlining piece was that the Knicks and Jazz recently re-engaged in trade talks centered on Donovan Mitchell. If you've been watching this show, we've broken this down from every single angle, every single report. Or day, there seems like there's a new report out there, and we've broken it down. And I still stand and believe that a Donovan Mitchell trade to the New York Knicks will happen. Today, no. Tomorrow, probably not. But before training camp, I truly believe that Donovan Mitchell will be traded to the New York Knicks. But let's check out that article from Charania. This is what he had to say. He said, after several weeks of no conversations, the New York Knicks and Utah Jazz recently re-engaged in trade talks centered around Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks and Jazz had a fresh trade conversation within the past week about potential packages for Mitchell. There is no traction between the two teams on a deal, and no Mitchell trade is imminent for the Jazz. The Charlotte Hornets and Washington Wizards are also among the teams pursuing Donovan Mitchell. Throughout the trade talks, the Knicks have made their interest in Mitchell abundantly clear, one source with knowledge of the situation said. The Knicks and Jazz seriously discussed a Mitchell trade during the NBA's Las Vegas Summer League in mid-July, but talks stalled out and led to nearly a month of inactivity between the two sides. Now, with training camp just over 1 month away, the sides have reignited talks. Hurdles towards a deal remain. This deal, it is gonna get done. Danny Ainge and Leon Rose, as stubborn as they are gonna find a common ground to make this trade happen. And it comes back to this. A trade happens when one side has what the other wants, and the other side has what the other side wants. And that's what happened. The Knicks, they want a superstar. They want Donovan Mitchell. They want to build around someone that has that box office ability. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. Shout out to him and his shoulder. Hopefully he's back on First Take more often. But also, the Jazz have what the Knicks want. The Jazz want cheap young players. The Knicks have that. And Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickley, and Quentin Grimes. The Jazz want multiple first-round picks. The New York Knicks can trade up to 8 first-round picks over the next 7 years. They have 11 in the bag in total. So even if they trade all 8, which will not happen, they will still have picks to move. Remember, 4 of those picks are their own, and only those 4 picks can be unprotected. They also have 4 other picks. They also want expiring deals. Derrick Rose, he's on a $14 million expiring deal. There was a report that came out that the Knicks were reluctant to include Derrick Rose, but you cannot tell me, as much as I love D. Rose, that he is going to be a holdup in a Mitchell trade. And you also have Cam Reddish, a cheap player with upside that has a $5 million expiring deal. That's $19.5 million right there. You only got to get to $24 million. I believe this trade's going to get done, but more importantly, as a Knicks fan, I want the Donovan Mitchell trade to get done. And if you watching right there, if you want this trade to get done, I want you to type 45 in the comments section. If you want to see the Spider, Donovan Mitchell, wearing the blue and orange in Madison Square Garden, in the Mecca, I want you to go down right now and type 45 in the comments section. This was another piece of that report from Charania. He said the Jazz have maintained they are comfortable keeping Donovan Mitchell into the season and potentially beyond due to him having 3 years remaining on his contract. We're going to break that down. But I wanted to go back to this quote from Tony Jones from a couple of weeks ago when he was on the Hoops Hype podcast with Michael Scotto. He said, they think the Jazz have multiple roads back to being the team they were a couple of years ago. They already have 3 first-round picks by the end of next season. If they hold on to all of their veterans, they'll have around $40 million in cap space. So let's respond to what Sham said and Tony Jones about the Jazz being willing to hold on to Donovan Mitchell and build around him. First of all, let's talk about Tony Jones. He said the Jazz have $40 million. Who the hell in NBA free agency is going to sign with Utah and make sure and go play in Salt Lake City? No big-time free agent is going to up and leave their team and go play with the Utah Jazz. We haven't seen it, and I don't think that's going to happen. No one of a high profile is looking to live in Salt Lake City and play for the Utah Jazz. That's just a fact. A report also came out that Donovan Mitchell is leaving in the summer of 2025 when he's a free agent. So let's break down how actually long the Utah Jazz have Donovan Mitchell. Sure, 3 years sounds like a really long time, but you haven't made one winning move this offseason. So you've already punted on the 2022 season. So you have 2023 and 2024 left. Sure, you can go all in for the 2023 season, but the year after that, he's on an expiring deal. You're telling me you're going to build around Donovan Mitchell, a player that is going to leave in free agency on an expiring deal? It is just incredible to think that is something that Danny Ainge would do. He is way too smart of an executive for that. Also, the trade package for Gobert. What they got back for Gobert, none of those pieces, none of those picks are going to help the Utah Jazz win this year or next year. Those picks and those players are young players with upside and a lot of picks. Those picks are going to help you in 3, 4, 5 years from now. Not this year, not next year, and not on the year that Donovan Mitchell's contract is expiring and he's going to become an unrestricted free agent. Are you going to trade for a superstar if you're the Utah Jazz? How are you going to do that when the New York Knicks have a better trade package for a superstar than you do? Because if the Knicks don't trade Donovan Mitchell, push that across, Jeremy. If the Knicks don't trade for Donovan Mitchell, they're still going to have 8 tradable first-round picks in the next 7 years. They're still going to have expiring contracts. So if another superstar becomes available in a trade, you're telling me the Jazz are going to be able to outbid the New York Knicks? That's bullshit, Danny Ainge. And also, keeping to win versus keeping to trade is a huge difference. I believe that the Utah Jazz could keep Donovan Mitchell to trade him, but they're not going to keep him and to win. You keep him to trade him. Hopefully at the trade deadline, you get more engagement and more people to bite in a trade. Maybe it's next summer, but the idea that the Utah Jazz are keeping Donovan Mitchell to build around him, I don't believe it. I don't care who writes it. I will believe it when I see it because Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz have not made one move this summer that says they're trying to win basketball games. They traded Royce O'Neal for a first-round pick. That's a starter. They traded their second-best player in Rudy Gobert for no one that's going to help them win this team. That was not a win-now move. That's a move that's going to help them win in a couple of years. And for all those reasons, that's why the New York Knicks have the leverage. Sure, the Utah Jazz may not want to trade Donovan Mitchell, but they've backed themselves into a corner where they're most likely going to have to trade him because the Knicks, they didn't call the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz called them. They also called the Hornets. They also called the Heat. They've called every team in the NBA willing to see who is available and who wants to trade for Donovan Mitchell. And that is telling, and that tells you that they want to trade him. They don't want to keep him. Donovan Mitchell didn't ask for a trade. And also this, Danny Ainge is a really smart person. He knows how to turn something around. He knows how to tear it down and build it back up. How do you do that? With draft picks. The New York Knicks can offer the most first-round picks. And also right now, the Utah Jazz's most important asset is their own first-round pick. And if you hold on to Donovan Mitchell, that pick is going to be a whole lot better than it should be, and it would take you out of the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes and this awesome draft class that's coming in 2023. I don't care. I'm going with the New York Knicks. This trade is going to happen. I've been following it too closely. I know it's going to happen. They have what we want. We have what they want. But I want to ask you this question. Who has the leverage? Is it the Knicks? Is it the Jazz? Type NYK for the Knicks or Utah for the Utah Jazz. I also have been seeing a lot of people on Twitter. Is Donovan Mitchell really a difference maker? Is he really going to elevate the Knicks into the playoffs? I mean, according to a couple people on ESPN, at the Knicks trade for Donovan Mitchell, they're just going to be a play-in team. And I don't really understand that line of thinking, because last year the New York Knicks won 37 games with Alec Burks and Evan Fournier as their starting backcourt. You're telling me they're only going to win 3, 4, 5 more games with a backcourt of Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell? Nobody really believes that. And we have to remember that Donovan Mitchell is a top 15 player in the NBA, and he's been that the past 4 seasons. This is someone that is a walking bucket. Any given night, he could pop off for 35 points. He averaged 25.5 last year, 5.5 assists on really good efficiency numbers, 45% from the deck, 35% from 3. The year before that, he was elite, 26.5. 5.5 assists, 44% from the deck, and 38% from 3. And other people are like, well, is he going to win you a playoff series? Damn sure right he's going to win you a playoff series. Did he struggle a little bit against the Mavs this year? For sure. Does he need to become a better defender? Absolutely. But he's a 6'3 wing with a 6'10 wingspan that coming out of Louisville, coached by Rick Pitino, he was a guy that had a lot of defensive upside. He's athletic enough to be great. I think Tom Thibodeau, if Mitchell ends with the Knicks, would be able to become an above-average defender. But back to the playoffs. This is someone that in 39 career playoff games, he's an absolute baller. He is someone that averaged 28.3 points per game, 4.7 assists, and shot 43% from the deck and 37% from 3. And then a lot of other people say, this is the Carmelo Anthony trade 2.0. And that could not be further from the truth. Because the New York Knicks, when they traded for Carmelo Anthony, they traded Raymond Felton. They traded Wilson Chandler. They traded Danilo Gallinari. They traded Timofey Mozgov. That's 4 starters right there. And if you trade for Donovan Mitchell, you're still going to have Jalen Brunson. He's 25. You're going to have Donovan Mitchell. He's 25. You'll have R.J. Barrett. He's 22. And you'll have Mitchell Robinson, who's 24. And you're going to have 1 or maybe 2 of Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, and Quentin Grimes. This is not the Carmelo Anthony trade. The Knicks are set right now in a good spot to be able to push all their chips into the table and make a move. Because at some point, the Knicks are going to have to consolidate assets. They have 11 first-round picks and 11 second-round picks over the next 7 years. That's 22 picks. They also have 10 people on their roster that are under the age of 25. You're not going to make 22 picks in the next 7 years with 10 people on your roster under the age of 25. You're going to have to consolidate assets at some point. And if you do that for Donovan Mitchell, I want to ask you guys, does this make you a contender? Does adding Donovan Mitchell to Brunson, Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and Tom Thibodeau, does it make the Knicks contenders? Type C for contenders or P for pretenders. I want to bring on today's producer and the Knicks Now producer, Jeremy Chuggs, a Knicks fan. Let me know what you're thinking of the report, hey, Jeremy.
Knicks front office, get it done, baby. Help Donovan Mitchell out. Set free Donovan Mitchell. No one wants to live in Utah.
No one
wants to live in Utah.
Imagine being a free agent. You know what? I want to go make $50 million and live in Salt Lake City. That's like when Joakim Noah said nobody goes to Cleveland for vacation. No one does it. No one wants to live in Salt Lake City.
Free Donovan Mitchell. Bring him to the city of bodegas. Bring him to the Big Apple. He wants to have some chopped cheese. He wants to win a playoff game the Aki way. Let's go.
Do you think James Dolan should insert himself and make the trade go through?
He should put his you-know-what on the table and say, bring D-Mitch to the Big Apple. Bring D-Mitch to the Knicks. This is what the NBA needs. This is what Donovan Mitchell needs. Make it happen.
I love it. Jeremy is a passionate Knicks fan. That's what the Knicks Nation is all about. Die-hard fans, and that's what Jeremy Chuggs is. We're going to get on out of here, but if you made it this far in the video, I told you guys to comment real one off the top of the show. Comment it again, and give me a follow on Twitter, @MarshallGreen_.